Contingency Log Number 79. Code Name, Circus Surprise. In many worlds where a system of power exists, typically referred to as a magical system, these powers are usually completely integrated into daily living, and unsurprisingly, most forms of combat in these systems will also make use of their powers as well. This can result in a power imbalance, where those who cannot manifest those abilities are typically looked down on, their lack of power sometimes even leading to them being discriminated against, shunned by those who would never give them a second thought. Many will often give in to this, unable to bring themselves to stand against the status quo, be it due to fear, their desire for self-preservation outweighing their hatred for those in power, which sadly can be the case, as the powerful will at times use their abilities to keep the lower status people subservient to them. But every now and then someone will come around, one who, despite not having any power of their own, would find another way to equalize the playing field. And in the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender, where wielding the very elements is the status quo of power, Ty Lee would become the counter to bending that no one saw coming. Having run away at a young age, going on a journey to discover herself, Ty Lee would join the circus where she would finally be somewhere where she'd be seen. In her time there, she would not only obtain incredible acrobatic abilities, but she would learn a skill that made her instrumental when recruited by an old, we'll call her a begrudging friend. This skill was called chi blocking, a skill that can attack pressure points of the human body, but this does more than simply affect the body of the victim. But it can temporarily rid a bender of their ability to command the elements. As the name implies, it can attack the very flow of ki within the body, the source of a person's bending. Adding that with her incredible speed and agility, Ty Lee has managed to overwhelm her opponents, not just taking out a group of highly trained earthbenders without breaking a sweat, but also disabling Katara, who at the time had become a water-bending master. This skill was rather terrifying to benders. Having your body essentially shut down after being hit a few times is one thing, but not being able to use a skill you were born with might have been a rather humbling event for those who might have once looked down on non-benders. But despite an ability that leaves an opponent open for a finishing blow, Ty Lee herself would never deliver it. As deep down, I'm convinced that it is not in her nature. In this era of the Avatar series, a war that had raged for 100 years where Ty Lee's own nation would fight to make claim on the entire world, she would choose not to involve herself in it, instead choosing to be an entertainer for the joy of it all. And if left to her own devices, she would have likely continued this way of living without a second thought. But her eventual recruitment in the quest to capture the Avatar, who coincidentally is also on my list, would not be something she happily chose to do. Rather, it was something she had to do, as the risk to her life would be much greater had she rejected Azula's request. This was made clear after Ty Lee had turned down her request the first time, the circus giving Azula a private show where she would make several demands, from lighting the safety net on fire to unleashing all the dangerous beasts the circus had to offer. Had Ty Lee fallen at any point during her performance, it was clear that she would have been gravely injured if not lost her life entirely. If she hadn't changed her mind after that, it was most definitely after Azula had, not subtly, made it clear that she would make this Ty Lee's entire life if she didn't fall in line. This so-called friendship likely started due to political association, held together by nothing more than fear. If you believed a friendship forged through threats would not last long, then you'd be right, as when faced with the decision between Azula and a real friend, Ty Lee would turn on her, and she would never look back. In the end, she would join the Kyoshi warriors, where she would begin teaching her chi-blocking technique to others, something that would have some unforeseen ramifications a few generations later. But that may be a discussion for another contingency. As for now, Ty Lee may lack any drive to become a problem on her own, but but it's clear that if threatened enough, she could be forced to do whatever it is that one desires of her. But countering her is easier than one would imagine. Not having any powers of my own would nullify half of the chi-blocking ability, but the other half can be countered by my normal Kevlar-lined suit, one which would prevent her from making contact with my pressure points. As shown when she's accidentally struck someone on the forehead, her chi-blocking cannot work through something with reinforcement behind it. In addition, while fast and agile, Ty Lee lacks any meaningful strength, meaning by blocking out her primary means of combat, she'll have no other means to fight back. And I've plenty of means to harmlessly render her unconscious and effectively neutralize any threat she may pose. That all said, with someone of her skills, it'd be a waste to just end up arresting her. Perhaps.
Yeah, I'm gonna call dibs on this one.
Wait, what?
Come on, years of performance abilities, great acrobatics, and just an overall upbeat attitude. She's literally me, without the childhood trauma, but you know.
Hold on there, you can't just adopt her, she has a family. Besides, if I'm not allowed to, what makes you think?
Adoption? No, I don't plan to do that. I'm just gonna, offer her a job. Maybe build my own team, kind of like what you do.
Don't think you can beat me at my own game, Nightwing. I've been doing this for...
Sorry, I'd love to continue this conversation, but I've gotta make some paperwork. I'll get back to you later.
So that's how he wants to play it. If you also have a character you wish for me to cover, or just want to support this channel, I'll have a link to my Ko-fi page. There will also be a Google Doc with the list of characters who have ever been done or already commissioned by others.